Hey y'all, it's Piere from Game Press, and it's Tuesday, which means that we have another data mine for you. If you are unaware of what data mine is, we basically have some people that go into code and they can see in the code what could be coming in the game. Before we get into it, because it's a lot of information today, some disclaimers. First of all, anything that we find in the data mine is not live in game. It may not ever become live in game, and Ludia of course has every option to change anything that they wish at any time. This is just stuff that we are thinking is going to be happening based off of what we found, and there's a pretty good chance this is going to come in game, but once again we just like to have that disclaimer that this is not all guaranteed to come in game, so make sure to keep that in mind when we're talking about all of this. So first off, we'd like to thank our data miners, Jimbohi and Colo Mountain are both fantastic, and we found a lot of really good information this week, enough that we actually have an article out on the Game Press website with all of this information if you would like to go in and read it on there. We are thinking we have a lot of 2.18 information coming soon. We might be seeing patch notes in the next couple of weeks, actually, given what we found in the data mine. So first of all, let's go through the new dinos. We did actually, it looks like we found all the creatures I'm thinking are going to happen next patch. Quetzalcoatlus Gen 2 is a cunning expert healer. Red is a cunning and resilient group distractor. Morose Intrepidus is a fierce armor piercer. Thylos Intrepidus is a fierce swap-in attacker. Indonemes is a cunning and fierce stalker, and Lystrosavis is a cunning and resilient dodger. So we're thinking these are all the creatures that we're going to be getting next patch in 2.18. Once again, we do not know when that's happening. We also do not know exactly what these creatures are made up of. We have a pretty good idea, especially Indonemes, but whenever you're looking at your dino decks, just make sure you keep in mind, you can hunt for creatures that you think are coming, but don't level, don't boost, don't do anything until the patch actually goes live, because we do not know what is going to happen. So in update 2.18, looks like we're getting some map changes. The Epic Brachiosaurus, Oviraptor Gen 2, and Quetzalcoatlus Gen 2 have been added to the map. So it looks like OB Gen 2 and Ketz Gen 2 are going to be not only epics, but we're getting Brachii on the map as well, which should be pretty exciting. Those Brachii used to be an exclusive creature, so we're getting it back on the map. Red has been added as a close range creature. Find this Atrociraptor by exploring the map. So once again, we're getting another new creature that is going to be huntable. Close range, we're thinking it means just like the proximity range ones that we have right now, where you have to walk over it in order for it to show up on the map. Find Morose Intrepidus DNA in events, offers, and rewards, and fuse Thylos Intrepidus and Indonemes DNA in your lab. So Morose Intrepidus is going to be an exclusive creature, it looks like. It is going to be a non-hybrid, and then Thylos Intrepidus and Indonemes, like we expected, are both going to be hybrids that you can fuse. So some really interesting information with that. We're excited to see some more creatures active on the map. Gives us a little bit of a chance to hunt some things. There's some move updates. We don't know exactly what these mean. We had found some previous moves in other data mines, so make sure to go back and read up on those. Minimal critical counter becomes minor critical counter. Rampage becomes group rampage. Medium counter attack becomes precise counter. Decelerating impact becomes group decelerating impact. Minor counter attack becomes minor precise counter. Taunting bellow becomes taunting heal bellow. And fierce impact becomes group fierce impact. We're assuming this means this is going to go for all creatures that follow those moves, but we do not know that for sure. It could just be a very specific creature and it just doesn't get matched up in the code yet. So some possibility of some really big changes though. It looks like a lot more group moves, which is what we have been asking for, to be honest with you, especially with the flocks that are just completely dominating a lot of the tournaments. So we're kind of hoping to see this actually get implemented in any creature, for example, that has decelerating impact. It could become group decelerating impact. So we're excited to see what that looks like. There's going to be some creature changes coming up, it looks like. Alberta Sevia It's saying it's a fantastic creature. They did think it could be a little bit more overwhelming, so they're deciding to lower its attack stat a bit to make it more manageable. We don't know what that's going to be, but it does look like it's going to lower its attack stat a little bit. Alberta Spinos, they said, was overall performing worse than expected, especially compared to Alberta Sevia. So they're increasing its attack to more meaningful levels and making its passive a bit stronger. So we're not quite sure what that means, but that looks like it could be exciting and a possibility of putting Alberta Spinus up in the meta a little bit. Given that it has Albert DNA in its to fuse for it, and Albert's exclusive and has so many hybrids, it's good to see that maybe getting a little bit of love. Disungaya, its current kit suits it well, but its stats needed a solid upgrade, is what they said. We've increased its attack by a little and its durability by a lot, while also giving it some new and improved resistances. I remember when Disungaya was like the creature to have, especially in tournaments. It was fantastic. It had a really good overall kit. It was hard to kill, honestly, and it was even available and viable at a lot of the not only the tournaments but the arena as well. So we're kind of excited to see this OG creature get a little bit of love and see where that's going to take us, especially with legendary tournaments. Glyptoceras' stats don't fit a modern creature of its rarity, causing an inflated loss rate. We've made a general buff to its stats to make the creature more effective in battle while maintaining its current identity. So we all know that the Fuku hybrid is the best legendary hybrid of all the continental creatures. And, you know, it's kind of sad to see the other two not doing very well. So Glyptoceras, it looks like it's going to get a little bit of a buff. And we're hoping it goes on to the same level as Fukuimamis, because Fukuimamis is really good, and we want to see that other legendary continental creatures kind of have the same identity as far as an availability, considering that only part of the world can actually dart one of its components. It looks like this early hybrid has fallen out of style recently and has lacked a proper identity in the JWA meta. We've reworked its kit to counter Phlox, as well as updated stats for being a more offensive tank. We're not actually sure which creature that is. It just says this early hybrid creature. So it looks like it's another old school creature, hybrid of some sort that's getting some sort of rework. It sounds like it's going to be a tank. We don't know what it is, though. We honestly, I think it's Gigaspikosaur, given the next sentence that we found. Like Gigaspikosaur, Nautapada's Titan's kit was outdated and needs some sprucing. We've revamped its kit and stats to make it even more bulky, truly to be worthy of the name Titan. So that first little one, the early hybrid creature, we think that's Gigaspikosaur, and then Nautapada Titan's also going to get a little bit of a buff, which is really exciting. We're really excited to see these long necks hopefully have a place in the meta and really benefit, especially with the way Phlox have been running a lot of these tournaments and seeing some counters to those getting built up. After release, Rinchi Scion had difficulty finding much of a place in the legendary meta, especially with the flock infestation. They actually called it a flock infestation. Therefore, we're sprucing its fierce impact to a group attack, bolstering its effectiveness in flock matchups and raids. So kind of like Glyptoceras, it looks like the other continental hybrid of Rinchi Scion is going to get a little bit of a revamp, and hopefully Fukuimamis, hopefully Glyptoceras, and hopefully Rinchi Scion all kind of have equal, they play different roles, but hopefully they have equal placements as far as power in the meta. We'd love to see that. And I think it's pretty funny they called it a flock infestation. So they are pretty much admitting to the fact that flocks have really just kind of taken over the game right now. Speaking of flocks, it looks like the last creature change is Tarbognathus. Tarbognathus has been terrorizing other creatures since its implementation, especially in tournaments. This tiny terror needs to be scoped down slightly to make it more manageable by opponents, so we've reduced its damage a smidge. We don't know what a smidge means, but it looks like it is going to get a slight decrease in attack, kind of similar to what Alberta Stevia is going to get as far as lowering its attack stat. So we're pretty excited to see these creature changes. I think they're a good mix of creatures that are really strong right now and, you know, kind of tamping them down a little bit, but also bringing back some old school creatures that a lot of people honestly forgot about, and we're excited to see that. We will be getting 2 new raids, it looks like. True to Boa will enter raids starting Saturday, October 1st, and then Dreadnoughtus will enter raids starting Saturday, October 1st. So even more raids coming on the weekends, it looks like, outside of just the Apex. So that's everything that we found so far in the Datamine. It's a lot of information. This is practically, we're thinking, what's going to be happening in 2.18. Once again, this is all speculatory. This is all data mined info that could change at any time, that could be removed at any time, and may not ever hit the game. So keep that in mind. But the information we did find is, honestly, it's pretty exciting, and we cannot wait to see what 2.18 has to offer. Make sure to click subscribe so you don't miss any information that gets revealed. Ludia usually gives out teasers for 2.18 or for the next update, and this channel will have it, and Game Press will also do a video on it as soon as we get any teasers. Hopefully in the next couple weeks we'll see something like that. And you know, don't forget to click subscribe so you don't miss it, and thanks for listening, y'all.